I don't believe we're supposed to create our identity around anything. I believe that we are supposed to experience things. We are supposed to have relationships. We are supposed to engage with humans and to play and to enjoy and to grow and to learn and to interact and all of that. And all of that is amazing. But if an object within that field changes, then so do we. I've lost a great number of people, including my father, in the last couple of years, and close friends that I've lost that have transitioned. Excuse me. It's so quick. It's so right there that have transitioned, and they've all been incredibly powerful experiences. And what I recognize as a part of my process is that there are moments that I miss them, of course. There are moments that I think, oh, I wish I could call this person, or oh man, I wish I could go see this person. That's normal. That's a normal experience. I had that experience when they're even before they transitioned. We all do. For people who are transitioned that we don't see as much as we might like to, it's not a lot different than that. It's not a lot different if you're not attending to it in a negative focus. It's just simply a change, and that person is not readily available. But if I'm living in California or Colorado and this significant person is living in Mexico and that person transitions and they're no longer here, but I've only seen them once a year or once every couple of years and maybe talk to them more frequently, I'm going to notice the absence of it. But the reality is, in my day to day life, I don't see them all the time. I don't interact with them all the time. So I can still interact with them wherever they are now, right? Whether they're heaven or hell or energy, whatever they are. If I put myself in a space of awareness, if I am in a space of allowing, if I'm in a space of connecting, then I don't feel them as separate from me. I don't feel them as gone. I don't feel them as loss, because I can feel into that anytime I want to. I can feel into that experience. So I encourage you, and so this is the first one. Consider grief as a temporary identity crisis. The identity crisis created from an attachment to the person, place, or thing that we think we are losing or have lost. And the core of all of that is not dealing with the fact that we are going to die, is not confronting our own mortality and standing in the face of that mortality and recognizing that it is just another step in the life process. We have no idea how, when, where, why it's going to happen. I can almost imagine, and I thought about this a lot, I've contemplated this a ton because it's fascinating to me that this process of transitioning is so regular, and yet we demonize it. It's part of our everyday life, and yet we're afraid of it because we're looking at the story of how it happened and deciding that impacts how it is for us, when we have no idea what that person went through in the process. We assume, because we make up stories about it, that we have an idea. But what we don't know is what occurs for every human being that's in the process of transition. Because I don't believe transition is arbitrary or random, right? So if you step into a circumstance, I watched this with actually three different people that I've observed transition, physically stood in front of them, either held them or participated in their transitional process. And in every case, there is a period before they actually transition where they're not terribly tied to this planet anymore. They're not terribly tied to this reality anymore. And we see that as them being in some kind of confusion and pain and horrible space and all of this stuff. And what I began to experience is that they think that's what they're supposed to experience because that's what we're telling them. But their experience is vastly different. What's happening on the inside doesn't correlate to what you're viewing on the outside at all. And so we use that to build into the idea of loss as well.